Welcome back to the Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda. We have finally thawed out. The ice is gone and the snow is dwindling, but I thought I would share with you some of the pictures that I've taken and video because I love the snow. I truly do. It's so pretty. And the last picture is from the frozen over pond in the ice storm. And it was this picture that put me in the frame of mind to start decorating for Valentine's Day. So here we go. Here's a look at the DIYs that I'm making, and they kind of remind me of a shabby chic sort of Valentine's Day, very soft and romantic, and I hope you like them too. I'm starting off with this jar that I got at Goodwill for a couple of bucks, and I was wanting to make a cloche DIY, and I'm thinking if you can't find a cloche, because those can be hard to find, maybe a jar would work. And I'm using these Christmas trees that I got from the Dollar Tree. You saw me craft with them for Christmas DIYs. Well, now they're going to be Valentine's Day DIYs. And I'm going to dress up these little Christmas trees to go in the cloche, but be appropriate for Valentine's Day. Now, if your trees are too tall for your jar or your cloche, either one, you can use wire cutters just to cut them down, and they don't really even need the stands that they come on. They will stand up without them because the bristles from the bottle brush help them stand up. So I cut down 3 of them to fit inside my jar, and I'm using some thrifted rosebuds to decorate them. I'm cutting them off of their wires, and I'm going to hot glue them onto the trees. Very simple, and if you know me, simple is the way I do. I don't try to over embellish things. I just like them neat and simple. I was really excited when the Dollar Tree came out with these colors of Christmas trees, but if you can't find this color, then you could probably find some white bottle brush trees that would be really cute, or you could try spray painting some. And I did do just a little bit of trimming on some of the trees so that they would stand up straight. Next, I used a paper plate to cut out a circle for the trees to attach to. And I hot glued the trees to the center of the plate. I wanted something frilly to go around the bottom of the glass jar because it's going to work as our cloche, and I decided on this little piece of lace that I have, and I hot glued it all around the bottom. If you want to make this permanent, then you can hot glue the paper plate to the jar, but I repurpose my stuff all the time, so I'm just going to place my jar over the top, and that's it. Next, I have a spool of antique thread. I've collected these. I have several, and I think they're cute just to set out in spots sometimes. But for Valentine's Day, I'm going to add some embellishments. And I have this glass, well, it's not really glass, it's probably resin, plastic knob that I'm going to hot glue right to the top. And I'm going to take some more of these rosebuds that I thrifted. Now, these were just pennies at the thrift store, but I'm sure you can find similar things at Walmart. These were sort of made of foam, though. They're not the ribbon kind. They're not fabric at all. They're sort of foam, and then they've got little green artificial leaves. So I'm hot gluing all of those down, kind of making a oversized comma. If you could picture the shape of a comma, that's how I kind of want it streaming down the side of the spool of thread. I have an antique button collection, and I decided that I could string some up, some of the white ones, whitish color ones, and make a shape of a heart. So I'm using some wire that I got at the Dollar Tree. They have different colors, and I'm not sure I would have picked red, but red goes with Valentine's Day. So I'm using this wire, and I'm going to string up some buttons. And as far as I knew at this point, I was just going to string up the buttons and shape them in the shape of a heart, and that would pretty much be it. But this wire isn't strong enough to really hold its shape when it's hanging from something, so I had to add more. And to secure the shape of the heart, I just twisted the wire together at the top point. And then here I am shaping it into the shape of the heart, and I wanted to add a jute string hanger. It's when I added the jute string hanger and held it up that I realized it wasn't going to hold its shape. So that's when I went to plan B. I decided to give it a backing, and the Dollar Tree has some really pretty scrapbook paper, cardstock paper, and I've got this packet that was sort of Valentine colors. And instead of pulling out pink though, because I like more of an antique-y look, I pulled out the cream color sheet. I did a very, very rough tracing around my heart shape, and admittedly it's pretty lopsided. But here, and you see, and I cut out the heart. But see, when you get the buttons put back on top, then it looks pretty cute. I was really happy with it. So before I attach the buttons to the paper, I decided that I wanted the paper to look even more antiqued. So I'm using my brown antiquing wax and a very, very dry stencil brush. I mean, practically nothing on it at all. And I go over the paper and just sort of swirly motions, and especially concentrating on the edges. And as it turns out, this actually became a very fun little art piece. I decided to get my stencils out. I found this one that says amore, amore. Is it amore or amore? I don't know. But I'm going to use the same brown antiquing wax and the same stencil brush to stencil this word onto my heart. And especially when stenciling, you want a pretty dry brush so that you don't have any bleed under your stencil. And I always love the satisfying reveal of pulling up a stencil. Before you go any further, make sure that your stenciling is completely dry. Then I attached my heart with the buttons back onto the cardstock using hot glue. I didn't hot glue around the whole entire thing. I just did the top and the bottom and a few little dots down both sides. I've had this pretty mason jar in my stash for a while, so let's use it up. And I've also had some milk paint waiting to get used, and I've never used milk paint on glass before, so I decided to do an experiment, so come along with me. Let's see what happens when you put milk paint on glass. To mix up your milk paint, it is a 1-to-1 ratio, so I have a scoop that's half a tablespoon, and I did 1 scoop of the milk paint and 1 scoop of water. The directions say to mix it up and let it sit for 10 minutes before using. Now, the reason I usually like milk paint is because it gives the best antique chippy finish, like authentic looking chippiness. So I wanted to make this jar look very, very old. And I was hoping that I would get the chippiness with the milk paint. So here I am putting on the first coat, and it's pretty transparent. You can still see through the glass, and you can see where the paint is running in places, but this all clears up with the second coat. You can use a heat gun or a hair dryer to dry your layers of milk paint, and this is where you get your chipping, but not on the first coat. You don't usually see the chipping until the second coat. And here is the second coat of paint going on. And now I'm drying it up. I don't know if you can see on camera the chips forming, but it's really cool to watch. After your paint has chipped up the way you like it, now you want to add something to harden it, a sealer, so that it won't chip any further. Like, you don't want all that flaking off. You want it to stay just like that. So I would actually recommend a spray coat of clear sealant, but I'm out of that, so I was using this furniture sealer that I had, and it would have worked just fine, except watch what happens when I add this on top of that pink. It changes the color. It discolored it from its pretty pink color into a nasty sort of orange color. So it served the purpose of sealing my chippy paint, but after I apply this, then I'm going to go back over with another coat of pink paint because I want my jar to be pink. It's all an experimentation. You would never learn these things unless you tried it out. So next time I'll know, skip this sealant and just get some new can of clear coat. At this point, I almost gave up and counted it as a failure, but I decided to try one more thing. I did one more coat of the pink milk paint on top of that yuck color, and I dried it up, and lo and behold, it was exactly what I had imagined and hoped for, a very old looking chippy jar. So then I took some sandpaper and went over the design on the jar, and that really made it pop. Next, I worked on the jar lid. I wanted it to look very old and rusty, so the first thing I did was paint it with some truffle chalk paint. Then I dried that up. And one way to make something look old and rusty is to use Mod Podge and cinnamon. So I'm putting a layer of Mod Podge down just on half of the lid. And then I sprinkled on some cinnamon, and you kind of can work that around using your paintbrush, or you can even use your fingers to make it look like rust. I also like to put some on the side of the lid. And here I'm using the paintbrush to goop it all up into the Mod Podge so that it looks all lumpy and crusty like rust. You can add more Mod Podge and more cinnamon and just play around until it looks just like how you would like it to look. Look how old that brand new lid looks now. So here's the final product, a very old looking jar that's perfect for antique Valentine's Day decorations. You can put flowers in it, you can put little love notes in it, or just leave it like it is. And this is a little Christmas decoration I picked up at Goodwill that I never got around to doing any Christmas makeover with it. So I'm going to transform it into a Valentine's Day decoration just by using paint. And I'm going with pink again. I guess pink is my Valentine's Day color. It is the color Ballet Slipper. It's Waverly chalk paint, and I'm just going over the siding of this house. And I'm covering the bright green trees with ivory chalk paint so that it looks like they're snowy trees. Oh, they already are snowy trees, but I wanted to eliminate the green color so it matches our Valentine's Day better. There was a green wreath with a red ribbon on the front door, so I am painting it with a darker color pink. And I painted the door brown, and I wanted to see how it was looking, so I decided to light it up. And I thought it needed a little something extra, so I'm using this glitter paint from the Dollar Tree to put on the snowy parts of the tree, and that way they glisten like real snow. Now these aren't DIYs, but I just wanted to show you that simple things that you don't have to do anything at all with can make beautiful Valentine's Day decorations. I picked these two pieces up, 99 cents a piece at a Goodwill store, and they go so cute with all my other decorations. And what do you think of my pink mix master? I was very fortunate to find that in an antique store. So what do you think of my Valentine's DIYs I've showed you today? Do you think that you'll try any of them? Thanks for stopping by. I hope you got some great ideas and inspiration, and I will see you next time. Bye!